This is CNN Breaking News.
Welcome to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. After a devastating week of deadly shootings across the country, we are right now following some late-breaking news of a shooting, potentially one targeting police. Local TV stations in Michigan right now are reporting that at least 3 individuals have been killed. This time the incident is in Berrien County, Michigan, specifically St. Joseph, Michigan. That's on the southwest corner of the lower peninsula of Michigan, about 45 minutes from South Bend, Indiana. CNN has been able to confirm that an officer has been shot outside the Berrien County Courthouse. That's according to a person who answered the phone at the Berrien County Sheriff's Office. Michigan Governor Rick Snyder just moments ago tweeted that state police have secured the scene. We just heard from a witness who was bunkered down about a block away from the courthouse. She said that the entire town where this is happening was on lockdown. Let's get right to CNN's Deb Fayrick, who is reporting this for CNN. Deb, I know it's late breaking, but what can you tell us? What do we know? What are local media reporting?
Okay, so what we know right now is that Michigan State Police did secure the scene. It happened at about 2:30 this afternoon. It appears that multiple people were shot. The courthouse was evacuated. A witness says it may have happened inside the courthouse, and so right now it's unclear just how many people were shot, where the shooting occurred, and whether or not the police officer who was injured was the target or simply was responding to what's been described as an active shooter. The area was on lockdown as police responded to this. There are emergency crews on scene, but right now the details are unclear as to whether the individual who was shooting has been taken into custody or has been essentially taken down. All of that right now is under investigation. The governor of the state obviously asking for prayers and for calm right now, Jake.
And as always, seems as good a time as any to remind our viewers that when there are late-breaking stories like this, information is coming in. Be cautious. What we are hearing from local officials, we will bring you the best information that we can get from the most reliable officials and individuals on the scene, but often those initial accounts are not accurate or need to be updated later on. So just with that caveat, let's continue. Deb, local media are reporting that 3 individuals are dead. We heard one witness say that she had been told, this is to Don Lemon just a few minutes ago, that 2 of those were killed were county clerks. We have not been able to confirm that yet. Right. Do we know about the status of the police officer who was shot?
No, we do not. And the interesting thing is, you know, when you go into a courthouse, you usually have a lot of security that's just outside. And usually you have to go through security. So you've got officers who are there. If the shooter did in fact make their way into the courthouse, the indication is that there would have been at least some back and forth between the shooter and the person who was going into that building. So again, all of this developing right now.
Let me bring in Paul Callan right now. Paul, how common is it that there are shootings at courthouses?
There have been quite a few through the years, remarkably common, and I think when you think about what goes on in a courthouse, you'd understand why. It's a place of dark emotion often, divorce cases, murder cases, robbery cases. The victims are usually there, the defendants are usually there, so vengeance is always hanging heavy in the air of a courthouse. And the second thing you have to remember is, although county courthouses, now this is a local county courthouse, this is not a big federal court where you would have maybe elaborate security. This is security provided by a small county. I was checking the population of this county. It's 156,000 people in the county. So I'm betting they didn't have perimeter security around the courthouse. Usually it's the sheriff's department that supplies some kind of in-courthouse security. And when we see these incidents, often a defendant has taken a gun from a sheriff because they get screened before they go into the courthouse. It's airport type security going in, and usually it's hard to get a gun into a courthouse.
And 1 second, I'm being told by my producer that we're being told that the shooter has been killed. according to Reuters. So let's just attribute that. A Reuters news agency is reporting that the shooter has been killed. Again, this situation developing right now. With me is CNN senior law enforcement analyst Tom Fuentes. Tom, walk us through what kind of steps would be taken to secure this location after a shooting.
Well, I think, Jake, that, you know, they would lock down the building. They would have police officers go through every floor, every courtroom, every judge's chambers, every closet, and try to make sure there's no one else there. It's not a coordinated attack with multiple people. In this situation, it's possible that the shooting occurred in the courtroom somehow, and then the person ran out of the building encountering a police officer outside and shooting that officer. We don't know that yet, but that's a possibility as well. But as Paul mentioned, security is usually at least very tight to get into the building with magnetometers, and in some courthouses, like where I live, Fairfax County Court, you can't even take a cell phone into a courtroom. So, you know, the security arrangements vary depending. Federal system, the most extensive, but state and county courthouses usually have a fair amount of security as well.
If you're just joining us, we're bringing you this developing news. Local television media are reporting that in the town of St. Joseph, Michigan, at the Berrien County Courthouse, 3 individuals have been killed in a shooting. We've been told by Reuters news agency that the shooter is dead. We're not sure if the 3 includes the shooter. We've also been told, CNN has been told directly by the Sheriff's Department in Berrien County, Michigan, that a law enforcement officer has also been shot. We are not yet sure about the status of that officer. St. Joseph, Michigan is a small town. It's about 8,000 or 9,000 individuals. It's in Berrien County, as we mentioned. It's on the southwest part of the lower peninsula of Michigan. It's about 45 minutes north of South Bend, Indiana, so right near the border there. Deb Fayrick, let me bring you back just to bring us more up to speed. You were recently at the New York City County Courthouse, and the security there is very intense. We don't know what kind of security a smaller town might have.
We don't. But when I was there, you walk in, there are magnetometers there, and with the New York City Court Police, they were all wearing flak jackets, the bulletproof vests. They were very orderly, very sort of moving people through. We do know that this area in Michigan is a concealed pistol. You can carry a concealed pistol, but again, we don't know whether, or a firearm, but we don't know whether in fact that was part of this whole equation. If he got past security into the building, he probably would not have done so without significant resistance, because that's where you're going to encounter the heaviest police presence. So that obviously, he may have had to shoot one of the officers in order to get in. So they're looking at that.
And Paul, this is something that we've been increasingly reporting on, whether it's terrorist attacks at airports or shootings at courthouses, is the idea of perimeter security, and those law enforcement officers or security guards, wherever the outer ring of security is, wherever somebody would have to give up a gun in order to enter the place, whether that's the very far periphery of an airport or just inside a courthouse. That is one of the most dangerous areas these days to be stationed.
It's a major area of danger, and unfortunately, local courthouses don't have the financial resources to provide really thorough and adequate perimeter security. I mean, think about it for a moment. You've got a small town here in a relatively small county. If you had to secure every block that was leading toward the courthouse, it would require an enormous number of people. So most courthouses, there's one entrance to the courthouse, maybe 2. There's heavy security at those entrances, and that's where they focus law enforcement. Now, if somebody grabs the weapon of a sheriff or a police officer who happens to be a witness in a case on the interior of the courthouse, we've seen other examples in the past of such shootings. There have been judges killed in courthouses using that mechanism. It's very unusual, though, for a defendant to get through security into a courthouse while armed.
And in fact, Tom Fuentes, let me bring you back. It was just a few weeks ago that a would-be assassin tried to take a gun from a law enforcement official to kill Donald Trump. Thankfully, did not succeed in getting the gun from the law enforcement official. But that is a way that a lot of these criminals or individuals with malicious intent try to get guns.
No, that's true, Jake. And unfortunately, in this country, many of the victims of that are the police officer himself or herself. They have their gun taken away through a wrestling match or whatever. The person gets the jump on them, takes their gun, and then shoots and kills them with their own gun. That happens quite a few times. Or in the case of the Donald Trump event, take the gun for the purpose of killing whoever the celebrity is at that event. So, you know, we see all efforts like that, and that's the problem, is that even deranged people can get a hold of a gun even if they wrestle it away from a police officer or security guard.
If you're just joining us, you're looking at pictures from St. Joseph, Michigan. It's a small town of roughly 9,000 individuals in Berrien County, and at the courthouse there in Berrien County in Michigan, in about the southwest corner of the state, about 45 minutes from South Bend, Indiana, north of South Bend, Indiana, in the lower peninsula of Michigan. There has been a shooting. Local media is reporting, local television stations reporting that 3 individuals have been killed. We're told also by Reuters that the shooter is also dead. We do not know if the number 3 includes the shooter or not. We've also been told that a law enforcement official has been shot outside the courthouse, although we do not know as of now the status of that law enforcement official. Deb Fayrick, what else can you tell us is going on?
I do want to say that according to local affiliates in Berrien County, the 2 bailiffs, the people who are in charge of court security and law enforcement there on site, did confront the gunman, and a shootout occurred. But it appears that the gunman was killed. It's unclear whether the 2 officers who responded, what their status is. I
just wanted to add this is not without precedent, sadly, in a courthouse. You were asking me about that earlier. In Fulton County, Georgia, 2005, a defendant got a hold of a gun. He killed a judge, he killed a court reporter, and he killed 2 other individuals as a result of a courthouse incident. I think he managed to kidnap somebody and flee from the scene as well. So this is not without precedent, sadly.
Unfortunately, we're going to bring you much more on this breaking story, this developing story. Once again, just to recap, local television reporting that at least 3 individuals have been killed at a courthouse in Berrien County, Michigan. We'll have much more on this story ahead. Also,